everyone, it's Keren here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another one in the series Personal Art Diaries Part 3. As you've listened to the other ones, I've wanted to talk about personal things that related to our creative community and related to anything creative, because I think it's really important to talk about things that most people do not want to talk about. And I think that's something that we should, as creative people, support each other in that way. So I've asked some of my subscribers and some of my Facebook followers to actually give me some ideas on what topics they would be interested in having a video about. And I don't know if you know, I have a Facebook group called Keren, Tamir, and Friends Creative Space, and I will link that below. Some people have joined that and are able to interact with others and be in a very supportive community. So I would love for you to join. And that's where I asked the question. And one of my supporters, Wendy, she asked the following: how do you deal with being your own worst critic? Why should we create for ourselves? So that's kind of becomes one and the same. I mean, there are kind of two topics, but they can be spoken together about. So I believe that most of us are our own worst critic, but it's not always art related. So you'll be surprised how much is everyone in the same boat. So in terms of, like, let's say somebody who's a beginner and starting to learn, some of the things they're going to criticize themselves about is that their art is not as good as so and so, or that they don't know how to use certain products or how to do it, and it's not coming out the way they want to. And that was me many years ago. So definitely I've been through that. And I always felt like, oh, my art is not good enough, my scrapbooking is not good enough as so and so. And that pushed me to tweak and create differently and kind of find my style. But it's really hard for a beginner to have the mindset that one day throughout your journey, you're going to reach a point where you're happy with what you create. So even though I still have a little bit of criticism, it's not as bad as it was when I began with, because I kind of learned how to use the products, and my knowledge of the usage of that product helps me create things that I like. So as long as I create something that I like, I'm not criticizing myself. But I understand when you're trying to find yourself at the beginning, it's really hard to create something that you're going to be happy with. And what I want to emphasize is that that's part of the journey, that you have to, you know what? It's okay to be your own worst critic, as long as that lasts for like 1 minute or 2 minutes. You can work on something and criticize and say, oh, I'm not sure I like how it worked, I'm not sure I like how this is turning out. But then you continue working with it, or you start another project that is similar and kind of tweak it and become better at what you're doing. And better, it's in quotation marks, because, you know, art is relative and we love different things. So I found that critiquing myself helped me push myself to the next level where I wanted to be. But it can also be very stressful and anxious, and people can get very anxious about that. So if it's making you stressed and anxious, then you are looking at it in the wrong way. And wrong, again, in quotations, because nothing really is wrong. I mean, it's part of our journey. So Wendy was saying, well, we should create because we love to. We should create for ourselves. And that is completely true. But at the same time, who doesn't seek approval and likes from somebody else? A beautiful comment saying, oh, we love your art, or winning a prize in one of those challenges online. I mean, that's what I was doing. I would enter challenges and not win, and then I would be criticizing myself, oh, my art must be horrible because I'm not winning. Well, guess what? You know what? They get so many different entries that sometimes the people that are choosing the art like certain styles and might not like specifically gravitate towards the style that you're showing. So you might not get the votes that way. Or sometimes it's random and you don't get to win. It's like I'm not like the luckiest person in terms of things when it's randomly. So yeah, I used to win some challenges. I got on some DTs, design teams, but I really felt that it was hard for me. It was hard to criticize myself, but it also helped me move forward. So yes, you should create for yourself. And what I mean by that is that that aspect of it could be taken into a different view. You should create things you like to do. So for example, if you love cards, then that's what you should be creating. If you love art journaling, that's what you should be creating. And that's you're creating for yourself. Even if you don't think about it, you are creating that for yourself. And you should, in creating for yourself can also mean using products that you love. So it doesn't only mean like only create for yourself because that's altruistic or because it will make you feel better. Because let's be honest, like humans want that feedback from others. We live in that society that loves that feedback. Look at us in social media. So to say we shouldn't look for that, it's unrealistic. I think we should look at it in a different way. That it's okay to want that praise from others, but if we don't get it, that we know that it's not because the art is not great, and believing that sometimes people have different opinions about things and they have different views and perspectives, because obviously art is relative and the perception that others have on art is relative because they can only see it from their own perspective, from their own emotional well-being. And if somebody, for example, is going through something at that moment and your art makes them angry, for example, they're not gonna write something. They might say nice colors. And I always thought, why are they saying nice colors? Yeah, the colors are nice, but they're not wanting to be rude and say something like, I don't like this. So they're just saying nice colors. Oh, it's pretty. Well, I always thought that word pretty was not the greatest. And I had this discussion with many of my friends because I thought, would you want to hear somebody saying this is stunning, beautiful, phenomenal, spectacular? Or do you want to say, oh, this is pretty? Pretty is like, okay, it's nice, but it's not the greatest thing you've ever created. So it always affected me when somebody would say, oh, it's nice, oh, it's pretty. And you know how many times, for example, my husband, I would ask him, what do you think of this? And he goes, oh, nice. And I'm like, nice? That's all you can say? Like, I felt like I worked for this I worked hours on this. How can it only be nice? So what I'm saying about this, my husband maybe doesn't have that art perspective, that he sees many beautiful things, but they're just nice to him. But they're not like something like when I see something that is spectacular, I do comment that. But yes, some things might not be spectacular, but they're still beautiful. They're still part of your art, and you should be expressing it that way. I think I got off topic a little bit because I do ramble on about things. But I do believe that when we criticize ourselves, we put ourselves in a negative state. And that is something that every person is different and has to work with in a different way. And the way it's worked for me is that it helped me throughout my journey. As I said, it pushed me further and further, because every time I felt that my art wasn't good enough, whether I didn't get the praise or I felt it turned out like horrible, then it pushed me to try it in a different way, experiment. This is why I love experimenting. If you notice in my channel, I do a lot of experimenting with different products. And I taught myself how to do things to the point now that I'm not unhappy with that. Now, let's fast forward the year. So that's talking about the beginner disappointment, like the way people feel at the beginning. But guess what? Do you think that we don't feel disappointment? The ones that have been doing this for years, we definitely feel criticism and disappointment on ourselves. But we just don't feel it in the art sense of things, but we feel it in the global things of things, the social media sense of things. After doing, for example, my YouTube channel for so many years, I feel that I should have grown faster than I have. Same with my Instagram. And if you look at my views, if you look at how many people subscribe to my channel, you say, wow, she has a lot of subscribers. Because of course, compared to somebody who started a couple of years ago that is trying to reach that 1,000 subscribers to get monetized, or just trying to, start in this community, or that has been doing it for 4 years and is still struggling and says, well, you have almost 30,000 subscribers, what are you complaining about? But you have to understand, I've been doing this for 10 years. So I'm criticizing myself because there's many people that started around the same time as me who have over 200,000 subscribers, have over 100,000 subscribers, and I feel critical of myself for feeling that way, for feeling that I'm not good enough. Because if my art was good enough, then people would subscribe to my channel, will not have subscribed. You know how many people unsubscribe from my channel every time they see one of my videos? I'm shocked sometimes. Sometimes I'm losing 10 subscribers for one of the videos that I put up, and I'm trying to think, why did they dislike this video so much? And yes, a lot of people subscribe, but the subscription goes so slowly, and people basically just view like 5 minutes of my 30-minute video, even though I made such a huge effort to, for example, show all the different ways that you can create something. So I try to experiment with all the mediums to give people those really helpful tips, and then they're watching it for 5 minutes. And it's a 30-minute video. How do you think that makes me feel? So I feel critical because even though I know that people either don't have time, or something doesn't interest them, or whatever reason they're stopping to watch my video, or whatever reason they don't subscribe to my video, to my channel, or the fact that I cannot reach those 10,000 subscribers on Instagram to be able to swipe up on my Instagram stories. You know how much it bothers me? I feel that people do not want to follow me, and that is a criticism on me. I'm not blaming everybody else. I'm blaming myself. I'm saying, well, my art is not good enough. My channel must be not good enough. And we are hard on ourselves too. And I'm not the only one who says this. There's so many people out there that I know are criticizing themselves because of that. And whether they have 1,000 subscribers, 5,000, 100,000, even those that have 100,000 are probably wondering, well, why don't I have 1 million? So we live in this society that we always think that we should have more. And I've had to deal with this a lot, where no matter what the criticism on yourself in this art community, there are certain ways that you can deal with this. Number one, the support of your friends. And I think venting and talking with some of my friends privately behind the scenes and talking about this has helped me immensely, because knowing that other people are feeling the same way makes you feel that you're not alone, that you're not the only one who is going through this. So on a final note, I want to specify to all those people that are criticizing themselves for whatever reason, whether you're a beginner, you're in the middle of your journey, you're trying to do trying to promote yourself on social media, whatever it is you're criticizing yourself about, stop. Seek out friendships. Talk about it with people that are like yourself. Talk to me if you want to. I'll tell you my journey has not been easy, but I wouldn't change anything. I really love that this journey has taken me to a point where I can come and share this with you. And that's what's important. Talking about this, something that I feel is taboo, that most people don't want to talk about because they don't want to seem that they're negative, or that they don't want to feel that they're less than others. Well, you're not. Just because you feel that you're hard on yourself, just because you feel envious seeing others succeeding, Trust me, everybody's criticizing themselves. The grass is not greener on the other side. It might be further along the journey, but not greener, because everybody along their journey is criticizing themselves for a different reason, whatever that reason is. So just believe you're not alone. Truly, you're not alone. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate if you share this video, because I think this video is really important for people to help others not feel alone in this community. That the art process is a journey, that sharing on social media is a journey, and it takes time. And yes, some people will rise faster than others, but you don't know at what cost that is happening. Some people rise fast, and rising fast means that you have to work at a really, really fast pace, and you don't even realize that sometimes what you wish for, even if it comes true, you might not be able to handle it. So maybe the slowness of it happening is happening because that's what's meant to be, and that's what your soul can handle at that moment in time. And just to give you an example of that, many times I've wished to be on certain design teams, or I was wishing to be on certain things, or growing a certain way, or teaching in a certain place. I wanted, for example, to teach many times a year, and when that actually happened, I actually couldn't handle it emotionally, physically. I was away from my family a lot, and I knew I couldn't handle it, so I cut down of it. But I kept on criticizing myself before that, trying to think, well, why are they not inviting me to teach at their stores? How come they're not doing it? Well, the journey was so hard once I reached that. So sometimes what you wish for might not be what you need. And that's a really important lesson, because we might want to have a really busy channel or a really busy Instagram, but in order to do that, you have to be posting every day. You have to deal with a lot of negative comments and criticism, and you have to physically work so hard to maintain everything that it comes with consequences. You give up on other things in your life, and some of it is a personal thing, like your family or your health. So don't think that growing fast or moving fast is the greatest thing in the world. Sometimes we need to take it slow in order to be able to grow at the pace that we are able to grow. And same thing with art. Just think because you're doing everything a certain way and creating, and then you're criticizing it for that, how you're going to learn? If you're already great at the beginning, you're not going to learn anything. The whole point of learning is experimenting. So if you're not experimenting, you're not learning. And then, yes, that criticism helps you build that learning. But how do you do it if you are not going through that journey, through that process? So there is the pros and cons on everything. And this is why I ask you to please share this with your friends, whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever you can. I just really think it's important. On Twitter, I don't have Twitter. So if you do have Twitter, please share this on your Twitter. It's really important. I just find that it can help so many people, because so many of us are like this. I mean, we live in this society, a critical society. So thank you so much, everyone. If you liked it, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.